welcome to Code Hub Tutorials. This is lesson number 11 and we are talking about CSS, Cascading Style Sheet. In our previous video, we learned about the introduction to I introduced you to CSS, what it is about, what it is used for, and what part it plays in the website designing. Now, in this lesson, I'm going to introduce you to the core concept of CSS, the syntax, some important element that you need to know. Now, this is currently the website that we have built throughout our HTML section. And we are in the CSS section. They're going to do more stuff to it. As I said in the previous video, CSS takes care of the beautification of the website, the colors, the arrangement of the content of the website. And then the HTML only takes care of the skeletal system, the element, the writing, the document that you want to be on the website. So we're just jumping out to CSS to talk a bit more about it. Now, you start by creating your style.css, which we have done that, and you link them. You make sure that they actually have a relationship, which we have also done that. That is, we added the style.css to it, and this is what we currently have. Right, so there's a relationship between them now, which means that we can actually write CSS to affect the HTML. Now let me now go into CSS and what it does. There are CSS syntax, as every language has its own syntax. And the CSS syntax says that you first call the element, okay? So if the body tag that you want to write your CSS on, you call it. And here you can see that I use the straight out the body tag because I'm referring to the element from the CSS. Because now they have a relationship, I'm now referring to the element, that is the body element. If I want to refer to an anchor tag or H tag, H1 tag, whatever, I can just type H1 and then go straight up to it. So that is what the CSS is all about. So it says, first, let me have the element that you want to apply the styles to. And then you open a curly bracket like this. You open a curly bracket like this. And inside that curly bracket, that is where you're going to write your code. All right? So I like it. People used to, a lot of people, there are different people, okay? Some would like to add the curly bracket straight out on the same line of the element and then maybe create a space and write the code inside. Others will also like to do bring it down, create this, and then do it. Okay, whatever way you choose to do it, it is your own way. But I love it when you put them on the same line, and all right, you put them on the same line. Okay, whatever you do, it's possible. You can write your CSS whether you do it. So maybe this or the first one. It is absolutely the same. All right, it's absolutely the same. And then you can go straight ahead to type your code. So now let's change the background. So with these two, you can choose any of them. So let's say the background color is now aquamarine. I want to show you that each of them is possible. So I'm just going to my website. Sorry. Yeah, so I use that and I have my CSS ready here. Okay, I'm also going to write, let me minimize this small. I'm also going to use the other style to show that it's actually going to work. So let me have this. I'm going to use the other style where I'm going to bring them to the next line. All right, I'm going to send them to the next line to show you that they can also, what's happening, they can also work. Now, any way you choose, the same thing, you can see that still they are working. Let me try to fix this side by side, and then we can have access to, let me do this, go here. All right, you can see this is it. So you see, whatever style you choose, it is the same thing. It's working. But I love it when I put the first curly bracket on the same line too. All right. So you can see that you can now write your property. So this is the property you want to use. That is, you want to change the background color of the entire body, and then you can also write the color you want. Now, one thing in VS Code is that it makes VS Code powerful is that you can actually set your colors like this using the color swatch. You see, you can actually choose right from here. You don't have to write your color code or other thing that you would like to do. You can actually select colors from here using that mouse, the cursor. Right? You can just select. You see, it's happening. It makes VS Code very, very powerful. You can just design like, if you know any other design software, you can just use that for. And yeah, that is it. So you write your property, you write your elements, you bring your curly bracket, the opening and close, and then you write your colors or the properties, the styles inside the curly bracket. Now, you need to also terminate each property that you use. So we terminate with a semicolon. So you can see a semicolon at the end of this. You can see that we have a semicolon at the end, which means it is terminating. So now I can just go and set maybe color, all right, and then maybe black. Oh no, I have black there. So I can just go, you see, now all the colors have changed to red. Now the reason is that I am setting the color property on the body, which means that anything that has to do with text on the body will be changed to red at this time, except that in later properties that we will set, we will just change them dynamically or custom colors. We just change them to custom colors. So other than that, I don't even I don't even want to say that you should set the colors of the text on the body elements. You know, they are just not important. You can just go ahead when you reach where you want to change. If it's the H1 that you want to change, just call out the H1, change the color, and then move on. All right. So now some things that you can add to the body, maybe the body color, background color, the text element, whichever way you want it to be displayed. Now, one thing I would like you to do is whenever you start your website, writing your CSS, you must first use an asterisk and then set out two things. That is padding. I'm going to explain the padding to you. Padding, and set it to 0. You set margin. I'm also going to explain margin pretty soon to also 0. Now let's go and see what happens. You see that now our websites don't have anything now. They are just being shifted to the extreme corners. Now I'm going to remove it again, and then you will see how they will look like. So I've removed it. Let's go and see. You see that now you can see some spaces around our elements. You can see some spaces in the HTML. Whenever we add the padding and the margin 0, they are taken to the extreme corner. What this means is that the asterisk is actually selecting every element on the HTML page. All right. When you use the asterisk, it's going to select every other element on the page, and now you can set the margin and padding. Now, what are these things? These two things: the margin and then the padding. The padding. Now, when you are writing your exercise books, you may have used exercise books before. They will tell you don't write in the margin. All right. The margin is a reserved place that elements are not supposed to be there. All right, they are just the reserved place. They reserved it that for breathing. You know, the content must breathe, so they will just leave small margin around so the content will be able to breathe. So the margin is not actually part of the element. It's just a space meant for breathing. Now content should be displayed in a kind of way, but the padding is actually part of the element. All right, it's actually part of the element. So when I set a padding on H1, the padding size I will set will be part of the H1. So I'm going to display it to you right now, so for you to see. So let me go to the page and select something like maybe, okay, I want to select just the name. Okay, my name is this one, I think it's H1 or something. So I'm going to select that one where my name is, that is, it is on the section Dave H1. Okay, section Dave H1. So I'll just go section Dave H1. All right, section Div H1. I'm going to set margin to it, and then you're going to see something. Margin to maybe 20 pixels. All right, pixel is the what do we call it? Unit of measurement. All right. So you can see that there has been a shift from the left. All right. Now I set just a single margin. This means that it's going to apply it to all the four sides. So it's going to apply 20 pixel margin to the left, 20 pixel margin to the top, 20 pixel margin to the right, and then to the bottom. Now let me use quite a huge size, and then you're going to see the impact. So you can see that there's a space between the image and then the name, and then there's also a space between the name and then the other element under it. And then there's a huge space right here. Now we want to see if what I'm saying is actually reflecting. Let's set a background color to it. So background color to the H1, I'm going to set it to this, Alice blue. You see that it is affecting only the H1, right? It is affecting only that side. Now I'm going to change the margin to padding, all right? And then you see what happens. Let me change it to padding right now. And you can see that all the other elements, that the spaces on top, the spaces at the left, right, and then the bottom have been affected with the same color, meaning that this space before, after, on top, and then below the text are actually part of the element H1. So they can be called H1. So imagine I'm using the top navigation, for instance. You see that I need to click it. I don't expect that I should only click on actual text before it can do something. I want to make it a way that whenever the mouse gets to any part of the element, it must be able to be clicked, not necessarily on the actual text, but maybe on the main, maybe somewhere like any area which forms part of the text must be clickable, and not only on the text. Now I'm going to do something here. You can see that when you get here, the arrow is a pointer, that is a white pointer. I'm going to change this arrow into a cursor, and then you see how it's done. So I can say cursor to pointer. I've set the cursor to pointer on the H1. So you see that when the arrow gets here, it's just an arrow, a white arrow. But when it gets onto the link, it becomes a pointer. Good. I've also changed the arrow here to a pointer. So now you can now see that whenever the arrow gets here, it also changes into a pointer. I'm changing the this one back to margin. See, I'm changing it to margin. And you can see that it is only affecting the text. And whenever the arrow gets here, it doesn't change, but until it gets here, which means the margin is not part of H1, so it will not affect it. I think this explains the whole thing. It only affects the H1. It doesn't affect the other space, meaning the margin is not part of your content. So in an examination or in your exercise, it tell you don't write in a margin. It means the margin is not part of your work. It shouldn't be part. Don't even write question numbers there. It is not part of your content. All right. That explains margin and then padding. I also tell you something about comment. I think we didn't do that one in HTML, but I'll take the opportunity to add it in the next video. All right. I want to make the video quite short, very short. So comment. What do we mean by comment? Now, probably or usually you may be designing your website and you feel dizzy, you feel sleepy, you just go and sleep. You need to be able to remember where you were or what you were doing before you left off. So we use comment. And sometimes too, we are not the only people who will be able to, may come across our code. We may take our code to somebody to also do something on it. We need to write a comment to tell the person what we are actually doing. So we need to write something. Now, a comment is not going to form part of our element. They will not be executed as a code. They are just there for reference. Okay, so we write a comment on. And how do you write a comment in CSS? In CSS, you write a comment by using what? I think I forgot it. No, I haven't. By using / /. In CSS, we use, this is how we write a comment in CSS. We use a // we use a / / and then in between the // we write, we use an asterisk, 2 asterisk or multiple asterisk. You can do that. You can just do something like this. Asterisk, asterisk. Right? You can just do something like that and write your code. You can do something and then write your code anywhere. So this is the first CSS I am writing. So you can just write something like this, and then whenever somebody comes across your code, you say, okay, so this is your first CSS code that you are writing. All right. So this is how we write comments. We just start with a / an asterisk, 2 asterisk, and another /. You can do this. You can just write your comment here. Right? And as I said, comments are not part of the code. They wouldn't be executed. When we go inside here, we would not see anything like this. Just to remind, or they are just for reference. All right. In our next video, I'm going to show you Flexbox on how to arrange our element on the space on the HTML page using CSS, and that's Flexbox. Okay, how we're going to set the grade and then a Flexbox. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the 12th video.